Matthew Mulligan uploaded the video I'd Say He's Hot in Our Tail, then under the name The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3 Remixed, to a website called Cheesy Art in 2004. He, RetroJape, and Yamino Alex then transferred over their videos to YouTube in 2006, creating the strange, confusing, and oftentimes humorous art form known as YouTube Poop, also known as YTP for short. Since then, the craze has given us many content creators like Electric the Cheese, Walrus Guy, Deeper Cut, Gabe-chan, I'm a Person, CS188, The Things One, Emperor Lemon, Awful Flawful the Falafel, Mad Anonymous, and of course, Koi9000JH. I am just one of those many content creators. I'm SpaghettiBicycle, and I'm about to show you how to make a YTP in my style. As I said before, I'm SpaghettiBicycle, a semi-popular YTP maker on YouTube. I got my start around 2012 after begging my dad for months to allow me to have a YouTube account. I started out pretty weak, but since then I've started to make some really interesting videos. Well, I mean, I don't make as many videos as I should anymore, but, you know, it's fun. Now, today I'm deciding to show you how, if you're interested in making YTPs, you can follow these simple rules. The first rule is to get a video editor. I mean, how else are you going to make a YTP? Okay, there is analog YTP, but that's a whole different, more complicated thing. Anyway, there are many different free and sometimes pretty pricey video editors out there. The video editor that I got my start on was Windows Movie Maker, Vista Edition. And it's a bit awkward. If you find YTP to mostly just be a pastime or a hobby, and you don't really have that much interest in it, then by all means you can use Windows Movie Maker. Or if you're just really starting out and don't have enough money on you. But I recommend that in this day and age you probably avoid Windows Movie Maker, unless absolutely the only option left. It's good for a while, but it's just kind of unprofessional. Now, I used Windows Movie Maker in 2012, and around that same time I started to discover that I could use iMovie.
We can't go over it, we can't go under it. You put the milk in, you put the milk in, you put the milk in, you put the milk in. You took your own before we did what you put in.
Now, iMovie comes free with any purchase of a MacBook or a Mac computer, and it actually is pretty underrated as far as video editors go. Again, it's pretty simple, but it works actually pretty well. The only problem with it really is that after a while, after you make so many videos on there, it will start to go a bit haywire, and then you probably are stuck that way. Even if you delete enough files, it's kind of broken after that. So, yeah, use that with caution. But overall, despite its many limitations, iMovie is actually a pretty decent software to use. Now, the software that I use is Sony Vegas Pro 12.0. And, these are the sorts of things I make on it.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! This one officially is in Georgia.
We are going on a summer holiday. If you want to go, you'll swim. We go into London and New York City, and we take a little piece of Amsterdam.
Just to show you that's kind of superior. Now, there are some problems with Sony Vegas. For one thing, it's kind of going off the market right now. And the other problem is that $600. Now, I actually had to get a lot of updates on this computer just to have Sony Vegas. Like, I had to get a guy to add like a bajillion gigabytes just so I can have Sony Vegas on my computer. Like, it didn't have enough memory to have Sony Vegas, so... And yeah, it costs around $600, and unless you have that money just laying around, you're gonna have to get enough money to actually buy it. Now there's a lot of different software out there, from Adobe Premiere, which a lot of other people do for making flash poops, and some use Avid, like my friend Nitro Concrete. There's all these sorts of video editing software, but the three I've used are Windows Movie Maker, iMovie, and Sony Vegas. So after you decide what editing software you want, you will set it up. As you can see, Vegas Pro is starting up. Now this is the default layout of Sony Vegas. You got your project media, your transitions, video effects, media generators, Explorer. You got your little save buttons and whatnot over here. You got what the video looks like over here, and over here is the timeline where you drag and drop different media files into and edit everything around. Now this is a pretty basic layout, yes, but there's also some little magical stuff all around, so you might want to check that out. Now that you have your video editing software booted up, what do you do to start? Well, simple. Find a source. A source is of course, whatever. A source is basically the entire crux of the YTP. It's what you're going to base everything around. Sometimes you can use multiple sources, but of course for this video we're only using one source. There's a lot of popular YTP sources out there, like SpongeBob, Frozen, pretty much any Disney movie actually, King of the Hill, My Little Pony. There's plenty of that. There's also some old school, more classic YTP sources like Hotel Mario or Wand of Gamelon, which are basically these weird CDI games from the 90s that were knockoffs of Mario. Well, I mean, they were licensed by Nintendo, but they're still kind of knockoffs. Anyway, enough of me rambling. I've used my own recurring sources in the past couple years, whether it be a kind of popular British poet named Michael Rosen, whether it be a kind of rising Let's Player named CJS001, or whether it be a pretty popular YouTuber named JonTron. I've used numerous sources. I've even used other YTPs as sources, if you can believe that. Now today I'm going to be using a source that I've used sometimes in the past, but never as the full source, and that would be Billy Mays, the late great legend. The Billy Mays commercial I'm going to be using is him selling these sort of patty grilling thing. I don't even know what it was. All I know is it's Billy Mays and it's probably going to be awesome. So, yeah. Here's a bit of the source for you.
Hi, Billy Mays here for the Big City Slider Station, the fast and easy way to press and cook delicious sliders. Those restaurant mini burgers everyone loves. No more squishing and squashing, or flipping and flopping.
Now, there's one thing that's very important to getting your sources, or at least for me if I want to do it legally, kind of. And that would be a YouTube downloader. Now, if you're wanting to use YouTube videos for your source, then, well, you need to search the video first, but then you have to find the right YouTube downloader to put your stuff into. Back when I was in my Windows Movie Maker days, I used a variety of YouTube downloaders. Some worked, some didn't. Movie Air was pretty bad after a while, and the YouTubeDownloader.com website was pretty good, except that it only allowed 5 downloads per day. Unless you wanted to pay, of course. When I got onto iMovie, I was really successful with a YouTube downloader called MacX YouTube Downloader. It works pretty well, actually. It doesn't usually have that many glitches in the videos that it downloads. So, yeah, use that. If you're using Mac, of course. Now, for Sony Vegas, that era, well, I've used... what have I used? YTD Video Downloader. That's what I use. And it works almost perfectly 24/7. I mean, it'll ask you sometimes to upgrade stuff, and it might download some random stuff onto your computer if you're not careful with reading the directions, but overall it works almost perfectly fine. Now, sometimes it won't download if it's a copyrighted video, and the copyright claim is so strong that it won't allow you to even download the video, but that's fine. In that case, you can just use a YouTube to mp3.com website if the video that you're using is just a musical source. If not, well, I don't know. This is what the downloader looks like. As you can see here, you could just put in any just kind of URL. Now, I already have the Billy Mays file on my computer from a different video, so I don't really need to download it a second time, but maybe there's a song I might want to download, so I'm going to go onto YouTube and type in, I don't know, Jump for My Love, click the link right here, copy, go back to here, put it in, and let's see if it downloads. It's downloading, see? You just have to wait a little bit, depending on the size of the file, and downloading is completed. At this point, you're going to want to use this Import Media button to import any media that you want in your video. As you can see, I've downloaded all my sources. Now I will drag and drop my source into here. No. And see, I can edit this as much as I want. I'm guessing now you're wondering, well, what do I do now? What do I do to make this YTP funny, confusing, or just interesting? Well, I'll teach you a couple techniques and there's sub-techniques to, give you an idea of what you can do with a YTP. The first technique, sentence mixing. Sentence mixing has been around in YTP since about 2007. I've used it many times in my YTPs just to make it a little bit more interesting and a bit more humorous. Sentence mixing is basically where you take the audio of a certain video clip and make them say something else. Like you chop it up and just rearrange it to say something funny or random. Now, a basic sub-technique is what I like to call basic sentence fractures, which is when you don't really edit words or chop them in half and just take different words and make a new sentence. So it's pretty much basic. Here's some examples.
There was a man who took all the money in the world. None of us ever saw our money ever again.
When you're born, your folks think you're a chocolate cake, which we'll all look like one day, says Mum's father.
Can football announcer Andres Cantor make a really big biscuit? Is a bird in the hand worth a bird in the hand? Does a former jackwagon make a terrible therapist?
Now, if you want to go a step higher, then there's always the regular semi-professional sentence mixing. Now, what this is that you basically kind of have sort of, not really a rhythm, but, something normal. Basically, you kind of chop up a couple stuff for like one word of the sentence and make it normal a lot of the time. Here's some examples.
Oh, it's the only place we can hide to stay away from the...
Today I don't feel like me. I feel like just being.
Do you love making YouTube? I hate all the hard work. I know I do.
You kind of see where I'm coming from? It's mostly just kind of somewhere in the middle. Now, if you're too pro for me, then you would basically go to severe professional sentence mixing. What that basically is where you just make the original source almost unrecognizable with its audio. And you basically make every single word and almost every single syllable just something different.
I got you there. I'll keep hiding.
I was reading the bag full of the tiger mother.
Pickle boy likes to boil and take pickles in the new.
It might take a while for you to come up with ideas of what you want your source to say, but it should be pretty funny how you come up with it. The next technique I'm going to be talking to you about is kind of a conglomerate of technical hooey, I guess. Let's just call it technical hooey. Now, the first part of this, the first sub-technique, is sauce. Now, sauce is a somewhat overrated reversing technique. It's basically where you take the first half of a word and then kind of reverse it. And that's funny somehow. Probably because of how weird it sounds when it's reversed. Here are some examples.
Sauce! Now I have one. Now on.
People like the Things One like to spam this to death. And he has like 50,000 subscribers, so it works, I guess. The next one I like to talk to you about is kind of two things. Scrambling / stuttering. Scrambling is basically where you chop up one whole section of something from a video and then just kind of rearrange it everywhere. Here's some examples. And stuttering is basically where you just take one small, maybe not even a second long portion of a video and just repeat it over and over again. Sometimes you can spice it up by making the pitch higher or something like that. Whatever. Here are some examples.
Beep beep.
The third sub-technique I want to talk to you about is visual humor. Now, visual humor can be basically anything. Now, visual humor is basically where you manipulate something just kind of in hopes of making it pretty funny. It's basically just free-for-all. Just something that's going on in the background or in the foreground that just kind of pleases the eyes, I guess. Here are some examples.
I got a little...
Give me a drink, bartender. Give me a drink, bartender. Give me a drink.
These three are not the only things in this technical category. There's also screen flipping and slow down and speed up, and really just do whatever you want. You can manipulate the footage to whatever pleases you. The last thing I want to talk about, and this is kind of more pertaining to my work, is reference humor.
I understood that reference.
And reference humor is basically where you decide to use clips from something else other than your original source to kind of make commentary on the whole thing, or just to be random. The first sub-technique would be audio replacement and soundtrack. And that's basically where you cut out the audio of the main source and replace that audio with something else, such as here.
Get out of my house!
Hey, even better with the company of a time.
Get out of my house!
Wait a minute. I know you. You're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You play basketball for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Or you can add a soundtrack or some music to the background to spice things up a bit, like here.
In New Orleans, they call the rising sun.
Another way to do reference humor is visual jokes again, where you can basically reference something by having a picture on the screen, or you can insert a clip over somebody's face and just kind of reference whatever's going on, like here.
I call it casually.
They say he's third cousin to the Kaiser.
Here's an easy way to make Jell-O instant pudding. Follow the directions.
And the final sub-technique would be in-jokes. Now, this can be just a joke you have between you and your friends, or this can be just some in-joke on a forum or a website that you go on and you kind of want to put it in the video because you still find it funny and maybe they'll get it. I use in-jokes from time to time. I don't use them that much, but I feel like they can work sometimes. I had this sort of in-joke with my Twitter friends about this certain band that we liked called Death Grips being classified as Japanese animation. So when I was mentioning anime in this sort of clip, I decided to put a picture of Death Grips in there. You know, just kind of give them a shout out. I used to reference this JonTron joke where it had Jeff Goldblum over the face of a cartoon character. I use this from time to time as just kind of a personal recurring gag in an in-joke in itself. It was also kind of an in-joke between some of my friends after I put it in my videos, so I kept putting it in there. So yeah, that's most of the stuff that I like to talk about for techniques. But there are so many other techniques that I haven't even touched on. Really, if you want to learn more techniques, you just need to experiment with your video editor or watch other people's YTPs just to get sort of idea of what other people do, you know, as inspiration. It's so vast, the amount of things that you could do with YTP. So, yeah, let's go on to the next step. Step 5 is basically you want to watch over your video a couple times. Now, you could just upload it without knowing the quality whatsoever, but it's always best to just check it over a couple times, you know, just to make sure it's to your standards. I do this all the time before uploading a video. I watch it at least like 4 or 5 times because maybe there's a mistake that I missed and I might want to go and correct it. Who knows? Maybe there's a transition marker that is unnecessary and maybe blocking a consonant or a joke from being heard. Who knows? But after step 5, it's about time that you transition to step 6, rendering. Now, if this is the sort of video that has a lot of the source over here, then you might want to just kind of hold down and select the portion that you want to render, as you can see here. That way it won't leave in all the unnecessary like leftovers. As you can see, my video is 35 seconds. My YouTube poops are usually longer than this, but it's just for a class. So now that I got the render portion under the way, I can now get into rendering. Now, for any video, you may want to decide what format you want to render your videos in. It all depends on what amount of megabytes you are fine with being eaten up. You also want to keep into consideration the frame quality of the video. You want to make sure, is it 240, is it HD quality, is it 360, who knows. For me, I always go with Internet 480p widescreen, which is a very reasonably decent rendering format. It's basically an MP4. You kind of want to render most of your videos into an MP4. That's usually how you are able to use it in other videos. That's how I'm going to be able to use this YTP in this instructional video. And because I have a rendering loop region, you'll want to check this box that says render loop region only, so that way it doesn't render the whole video. Alright, so now I'm ready to render. Depending on the length of the video, it can go a long time for it to render. Since it's only 35 seconds, it's probably just going to be really easy. I just got that joke. Alright, and it's done. Final step, and this is pretty important for any YouTube poop, you gotta upload to YouTube. I mean, unless you want to upload to Vimeo if YouTube's being a jerk, but whatever. So, as you can see here, I already have my YouTube thing set up, and I just press the upload button. Alright, so I'm selecting a file to upload, and if you just go to the file name thing, alright, so I'm selecting a file to upload, and here's why I have it rendered in MP4. Because that way it's a lot easier to upload it to YouTube. So you press open, and now it's being uploaded onto YouTube. For those of you who don't know how to upload a YouTube video or don't have YouTube accounts, then it's basically just go to the upload button, select whatever file you want, and bravo. And then you just fill in all this additional information that you might want. Like I'll put the description for Billy Mays has made an example for a class I'm in. I'm gonna fix the slow computer's mistakes, and as you can see, it's almost already done processing. And yeah, that seems like a perfectly good thumbnail for the video. Well, now that we've uploaded it to YouTube, let's look at the video that I have made and note the techniques that I mentioned.
Anthony Sullivan here.
The fast and easy way to attack cooks in just 2 minutes. Big city sliders are sure to flop.
He stays hot, the cool stays crisp. He stays hot, the cool stays crisp.
And join the craze with me. Sure, easy. Billy Mays Station. Right now. Wow. The double-sided.
Hold the ocean in your hands.
But call in just 2 minutes and we'll send you flip-flops. Order right now.
He stays hot.
There's one additional step that you may not have to do, but I recommend that you do it, which is promoting the video on other websites. Whether it be Twitter or the official YTP forum, YouTube, which has a pretty open community that is very much open to new members. It just seems like you should probably get your video out there. Or you may not want to, because, who knows, maybe you just want to start rough, you know, just hoping to get those new views. Either way, that's not really related to the production of a YTP, but either way, it's just a helpful tip. And yeah, that's how you make a YTP. Not really in my style, but what are you gonna do? I'm SpaghettiBicycle, and thanks for watching. If you have any other questions, leave a comment below. Or, since this is being viewed in a classroom, ask the guy presenting these questions. He probably knows. Alright, bye.
Who wants in?